Anakin and Ahsoka were a dynamic master and Padawan pairing during the Clone Wars. Although Anakin was initially opposed to the idea of having a Padawan, he grew fond of Ahsoka and treated her like a little sister. But instead of being in love with Padme, what if Anakin was in love with Ahsoka? How would this change Star Wars history? As you're about to see, a lot changes. We're going to assume that Anakin and Padme are attracted to each other, but never pursue any kind of relationship, rather remain as close friends. This allows for Anakin to become attached to Ahsoka without feeling any guilt. As the Clone Wars progress, Anakin is not as protective with Ahsoka as he is with Padme in canon, as he knows that Ahsoka has been trained in the Jedi arts. However, whenever she gets hurt or goes missing, he feels a greater sense of failure, and that he should have done more not only as her master, but partner. With the bombing of the temple, the Jedi Council call into question Ahsoka's credibility, much to the anger of Anakin. But here is where events start to change. After Barriss confesses to her crime, Ahsoka leaves the Jedi Order, but instead of Anakin pleading with Ahsoka to stay, he leaves with her. Together, they temporarily stay in Padme's apartment, as she is happy for the couple to stay. Back at the Jedi Council chambers, there is a state of turmoil. Many are beginning to question the recent decisions made by the Jedi Council, which have led to Anakin and Ahsoka leaving. Whilst Mace Windu and Saesee Tiin dismiss these as coincidences, Yoda in particular recognises that mistakes have been made. Meanwhile, Darth Sidious needs to change his plans. He had originally planned for Anakin to become the successor to Dooku, but this could no longer happen as Anakin was a less vulnerable target. Nor could he get rid of Ahsoka too easily, given Anakin was practically attached to her hip, and given her strength with the Force. Thus for now, he would have to keep Dooku. This would change, however, with the duel aboard Grievous's ship. Of course, one might say that in canon Sidious set up the duel to test Anakin's powers. However, given that Dooku wishes to eventually overthrow Sidious, and Grievous is more under his control, the attack over Coruscant would still likely occur. Instead of facing Anakin and Obi-Wan, this time, Dooku faces Yoda and Obi-Wan. The reason for sending Yoda is that he would know Dooku's combat style the best, given Yoda was Dooku's master. The duo would eventually subdue Dooku, and this time Palpatine would remain silent, as there was no chance of goading Yoda into killing Dooku. With Master Yoda aboard, they are more patient, and do not run into the ray shields, meaning that they do not encounter Grievous, and the quartet make their way smoothly to Coruscant. Once on trial, Dooku does not reveal the true identity of Palpatine, as either way, he would be punished for his crimes. Meanwhile, Anakin and Ahsoka are living a peaceful life. Along the way, they have numerous encounters with the Force, whether that be with holocrons or Force users, all the while gaining an understanding of the Force that the narrow-minded Jedi Order had resisted. Eventually, the Force would move them to the planet of Korriban. The duo would land upon the planet, curious as to why the Force had brought them here. The Sith Ghosts would reveal that the duo still had a large role to play in the war, regardless of them leaving the Jedi Order, as well as provide them with further ancient Sith secrets. The duo would end up making their way back to Mandalore, where Captain Rex was based. As Rex greeted them, Ahsoka couldn't help but notice a dent on Rex's skull. Rex pointed out how he had removed a chip, which prevented the Chancellor from having control over the clones. For the duo, it was as if a light bulb had turned on inside their brain. Chancellor Palpatine was the person they had been looking for. Anakin's eyes flickered yellow as he thought about the senile man who he had once trusted. This was the person who had nearly ruined Ahsoka's life. He knew what they had to do. With a nod to Rex, the duo zoomed off to Coruscant. Knowing that if they went to the Jedi Council, Sidious could sense this and escape, they went straight to the Chancellor's office. Seeing Palpatine converse with a hooded figure, they both turned around the sight of 3 lightsabers igniting. Palpatine and a Zabrak they recognised as Maul turned around and ignited their lightsabers. Maul was expecting Kenobi, but these two would have to do for now. This was a battle for the galaxy. That is it for part 1 of What If Anakin and Ahsoka Fell in Love. If you would like to see a part 2, please like this video and subscribe for more what ifs. And as always, Leave a comment on what if you'd like to see next. Thank you very much for watching, and see you next time.